Hey, it's Lee here at Simplify Adulting, and today we're going to hop right into a question that came to us via our Ask Us Anything submission, which I will put a link to that so you as well can ask us anything. Okay, so this question was really around what is a primary care physician versus a specialist, and when should I see either one? Okay, so first of all, we're going to talk about this in a couple different aspects. One will be about kind of what you may need to do based on your healthcare plan, and then one's going to be more my experience in terms of when to see your primary care versus specialist. So it's important to understand that insurance plans all have different rules, and you have to understand your insurance plan because some plans will require that you actually see a primary care physician before you even see a specialist. Some plans may require that you actually have your primary care refer you to a specialist before you go seek out and see a specialist on your own. And that can make a lot of difference in terms of what is either covered by your plan or not covered, and can make a big difference to you in terms of what you may pay for that. Okay, so it's really important that you understand what your current or what your specific healthcare plan requires of you. But in terms of medical care, here's how I think of the difference. So, a primary care physician, which typically you're going to see that they have kind of titles such as general medicine, family medicine, maybe internal medicine. And the way I think about a primary care physician is that they ideally, someone that I have a really good rapport with, that I really can have open and honest discussions with, and that is going to help me deal with my overall health care issues, concerns, and my keeping me healthy plan, right? So it's the person that is going to kind of see me through uh, everything, right? Kind of the general wellness stuff to, hey, something's not right, I'm not feeling well. And they become my focal point for that. And one of the things that a really good primary care physician does, in my opinion, is they've got a great network of specialists which to refer you to should they need to. The great thing about primary care physicians is that they see lots of stuff. So they have a lot of experience, and I'll call it a lot of tools in their tool belt to work through a lot of healthcare related issues. But every once in a while, they'll just run into something where they'll say, hey, I think you need to see a specialist. So for me, an example of this is I have chronic migraines. And when I started to experience these, I went to my primary care physician. She did some of the standard protocols and different medications. And unfortunately, none of that stuff worked for me. So she was in the position where she had to say, okay, what I know is not making the situation any better. We're not getting to a solution here. So she referred me to a neurologist, and a neurologist is the type of specialist that specializes in migraines. And even though she referred me, it's not like she wiped her hands of me. My specialist and her talk, and they share records and they share information about kind of how I'm doing. And I'll give an example of this. So my neurologist who I'm with for my migraines also commented that perhaps I may want to think about a different protocol for something else. And but he couldn't prescribe that medicine or do those tests because they weren't neurology type stuff, which that was kind of new to me. I didn't know that some doctors can prescribe some medicines and some can't. So he said, you need to go back and talk to your primary care physician about that, get her thoughts. Well, I was able to go back to her, do that, have a discussion, and she ended up doing what he thought made sense for me because it made sense to her too. So that's just an example of the power of having a good primary care physician that you feel comfortable talking to, that can get you hooked up with good specialists, and then that they work together to make sure that they, even though there's a specialist, they're also thinking about your whole health care. So that is when you typically are going to see that specialist, is when a primary care physician says, hey, outside my bailiwick. My normal ways of addressing this issue are not working. I need to have you go see somebody else who has more depth in this area. And that's it. There you go. That's the difference between a primary care physician and a specialist. And really, please remember that it's super important to understand that you um, read the requirements of your healthcare plan to know when and how you have to seek a primary care physician before you seek specialist care. So if you have more questions, you have comments, please put them below. And if you like what we're talking about here in Simplified Adulting, remember to subscribe. Until I see you again, stay happy and healthy.